Okay, so we're a couple minutes early, but might as well do it. Camo, you can't have that.
You want to take him?
Okay, you have to get him back here. We have a baby duck. See, I can see right there if anybody's on yet. They aren't yet.
No, look. No duck for you.
Oh, hold on. Oh, I got one. Hi. Who's ever there? Say hi. I see one. Is that Jasmine? So write a comment down there below. Hi. So look, I have a little baby duck to share with you guys. This was just hatched out 2 days ago, and it's a Muscovy duck. So cute.
You know what their favorite cookie is?
What?
Animal quackers.
Animal quackers. Oh, so cute. Hello. Look. Hello.
Chip, 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 chip.
Here, I'll switch this over. Hold on. Look. See how cute? Hello, ducky. Oh, he wants to go back with his brothers.
Okay, I'll take him
Sisters.
back.
Sisters.
All girls. Ooh. Ooh.
So, hi Valerie. Hi Evan, Kate, and Luke. Are you guys gonna paint with me? I am Sammy and Shirley's grandma. So I teach watercolor online to adults, and Sammy's been wanting me to teach a class for them. And so I said I would. See my shirt, it's got elephants on it. I have dogs here, so they may bark. And but we'll get started here in just a minute. I want to see if Sammy and Shirley have made it yet, and I can't tell unless they write in here in the comments. Do you guys have paints and are ready to go? Okay, so I'm just gonna wait for a couple minutes. So when I teach class on with the adults, I sing some silly songs. Oh, good, good, you're all set up. This should be a fun project. This is the one that Sammy picked out, and what I thought I might do for you guys is I thought that you guys could also pick something out. I'll let Shirley pick out something next, and then I'll probably let the grandkids pick out something first. And what you can do is go to Pixabay, and that is a place that you can use their reference photos. So write that down, Pixabay. I'll put it in here, Pixabay. I want to make sure Jasmine and Sammy and Shirley are there. I see 2 people on here, so let me just double check and see if they're there, okay? Because she's not writing. Okay, so that'll be fun if everybody gets to do it, okay? Let me see if she answers. Are you in? I'm asking Jasmine on her phone. She says the kids are excited. So I thought this would be lots of fun. Say hi if you're there. You just write in the comments. And this is a place where you guys can ask questions too. You can have your moms type it in if you want. Now I use, while I'm waiting, I used tube paints. Okay, so these are paints that like professional artists use. So I'm going to share these with you really fast. They have more pigment in them as opposed to this kind of paint, but you can still use this. But I'm going to be using the kind that are squeezed out and put in what I use these little things for palettes. These are just little bread dipping bowls, and so these are called primary colors, red, blue, and yellow. And I have them showing right under here so you guys can see them right there. I'll keep it small though, so that way you can see what paint I'm getting into. All right, so I'll leave that up there. It'll be smaller, but you guys have good eyes so you can see it.
So what is this group under?
This is called Nani's watercolor. And then over here in the corner, up there, you can see it in the upper corner. That'll be your reference photo. That's what that's called, and that's what you're going to look at. And then this is what I will use too. And so when we're painting, I'm going to point out the different places that we're going to paint, and then you guys will follow along. Okay, so are you guys ready? Is Sammy ready? Is Shirley ready? Okay, hi Sammy, hi Shirley. Here, I'm going to go back to this one really fast. Hi Sammy, hi Shirley. This is for you and then for all the other kids and your friends, so I hope you guys have fun with me. I miss you guys so much. Okay, do you see back there behind me? I painted that. That's of Poppy's dad. So anyway, I'm going to switch it back to the painting. So all of you guys...
Nani's Crafty Kids, is it?
No. It's called Nani's Watercolor. I invited you to it. Poppy's trying to find it. Okay, so let's get started, guys. We have, I think you guys should have drawn this. Now, primary colors, red, yellow, and blue, make all the other colors. You don't really need any other colors than that, but it's fun to have those colors. So, I also want to show you guys, when you do with watercolor, I usually have two water containers. So I use this one for my dirty water. So every time I change my brush, I go in this one, and then to make sure my brush is good and clean, I go in this one. And that's how I do it. I go here and here. And then also, you might want to have a towel or a paper towel, or I use just some sort of rag to dry it. So usually what I do is I get my brush wet, and then I dry the brush off like that, okay? So we're gonna get started. One thing that I do that a lot of kids don't do is, first I have to sing you a song. I have to sing you a song, so get ready for my singing. It is not good singing, but that's okay. So I have to let you see my big face, all right? Twinkle, twinkle, you're a star. Keep your brush near, not far. Splash your paint, you're doing great. Enjoy your, is this a gecko or lizard? I don't know. Do not wait. Twinkle, twinkle, you're a star. Keep your brush near, not far. And I tell that to all my grown-ups because if they want to become better painters, they have to paint. Okay, you can't just wish it. You have to do it. Alrighty, I need glasses because I'm old. I'm 58. Okay, get your brush wet, you guys, and then take a little bit of the moisture out. And what I want you to do, we're going to look at this, and knowing that all of our colors can make all of these colors, just the three primaries, I want to start with our back. So what we're going to do is get the brush wet, and I only want you to paint right over your pencil lines, paint along, we're going to let just with water. You can paint with water, and water will do a lot. Don't go past this line here. Stay right there. And I'm going to go slow. Oops, let me move this down a little bit. You can make comments, like if I get out of the screen, tell your mom to make comments if you want. We're just going to go along. See this little part right here? Excuse me. See that little part right there? Stop when you get to that part. Okay, so that's going to be the boundaries that we're going to paint water. Right now we're just painting with water. And just sort of follow those little things there. You can do it with
water, because the water will paint, follow it.
Yeah, and now when we're going to put paint on top of it, and when you put paint on top of it, it's going to follow wherever you put the water. So don't go past the leg. We'll do the leg later. And we could also, let's just go all the way down here, but go around the leg. Okay, just with water. Nothing but water right now. And what happens is the water soaks into the paper, and then the paint will stay there. And it makes it look really, really pretty. It makes your paint mix together. And I call that dancing. I let the paint dance with the other one. So we put two colors in here. So you guys know what color makes orange. Most of you probably do. Red and yellow make orange. So what we're going to do is we're going to put yellow all over that place where we just painted. So if you have a yellow wherever you are, get a yellow. I'm going to do, there's things called warm yellow and cool yellow. This has a little more red in it, so it's a warm yellow. This doesn't have as much red in it, or it probably has no red, so it's more of a cool yellow. So I'm going to get some of the paint here. And that's not important to know, but that's just letting you know. Within each color, some are more red or yellow, and if they're more red, they're considered warmer. Okay, so we've got paint in the brush now, and all we do, let me go closer for you. All we do is put the brush right on the paper, and look, it just, the water where we put the water, it pulls it around. So we get just a little more, and we just touch it wherever the water was. Now, one of the things is, some of you guys in Texas, your paper is going to dry faster. So you want it to keep it wet. And you can, if you want, put a damp towel under your paper, and that'll keep the paper wet longer. So now we've got this fun little yellow going on. And we painted right to here with the water, didn't we? So let's go down here too. See, if you look here, if you look at the whole thing, it's got a lot of yellow under it. If you can look at that, if you can see that, it's got a lot of yellow. You picked out a good one, Sammy, to paint. Lots of fun color. And if you want to know if your paper is still wet, you kind of go like this. You kind of go down like this and look to the side, and if you can see it shiny, it's still wet, okay? Sorry, I'm kind of in the dark back here. I look dark, but our light has changed at this time of the day. This probably isn't the best time of day to teach you guys. So look at, here we go. We have the water on here, and I'll show you how wet mine is. If you tip it, watch, mine's gonna run. Isn't that cool? So the reason I stopped here is because I want this to become that pretty pinkish purple, light, light, light. But if I painted over it with yellow, I wouldn't get that. So I want to save that. In watercolor, whatever you want to be white or white-ish, you don't paint over if you can help it, okay? So now, this is orange up here at the top. I'm going to go like this so you can see. Whoops. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make this go over here. Okay, and then I'm going to move this up, and then we can see them both. So if you have orange, you could use orange, but I'm going to use red, and this is the red I'm going to use right here. I have orange, but I just want to show you how you can make orange. So I'm just doing little tiny taps, because I want the yellow to kind of show through it. I don't want it to be completely solid orange. And I'll use a different red too. I'll show you another red, just because that's kind of fun to mix it up. That one's more of a pinkish red. And if we want it to get, we might want to put a little more yellow on it. And then it becomes more orange. You see that? Whoa, huh? And I like how that, see how it's kind of coming down? That's called wet into wet. We got the paper wet, and then we put wet paint on it, so that's called wet into wet. And I do have orange, so I'm going to put orange in there just for the fun of it, right over the top. And those little spiky things, you can kind of make them. Little tiny, gently push a few of them up. Okay, how you guys doing? I'm going to go back into some more red. Now the other thing, if you're not keeping up with me, don't even worry about it, because this is recorded. And part of the fun is watching someone paint. A lot of times I watch people paint on my iPad, and it makes me fall asleep because it's fun just to watch it. Okay, now I have a Kleenex. Go grab a paper towel, or have your mom run to get a paper towel or something like that. Okay? Say, Mom, go get me a paper towel or Kleenex. So what I'm going to do, mine's really wet here, so I'm just going to kind of lift that up a little bit with my paper towel, my Kleenex. Get a little bit of the water up. See how that looks? Okay, now let's do some blue. You can see that there's some green showing here too, and that we know that yellow and blue make green, right? So I'm going to go with my, just put any blue you want. I'll pick whichever blue I want too, and we'll see what we get. I'm going to do this one. This is called cobalt blue. See how it looks pretty close to that one? So that's why I'm picking it. My brush is wet, and I'm just going into my paint. And we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to touch the paint or the paper, and so that looks a little bit too dark. So I would probably get a little more water in my brush, and then I squeeze it out here at the end. We want it to look blue. We also have an area or so that we want to have green. So leave some space in between. And do you see how I'm kind of tapping it? I'm not brushing it. I'm just sort of tapping it. Because there's water there, the water will pull the paint right out of the brush. And I see a little mistake I made. I wanted to have that yellow. So if I use my Kleenex, I can probably get that out of there. See, it's pretty much gone. Okay, if you do have green, let's use some green. I'm going to go right here and get my green. And I'm going to put a little bit of green right here. And a little bit of green right here. Right where we see it. Just look at where you see it and we'll put it in there. And I see some green in here. And I see some green here. Okay, I'm going to go back and get some blue because I think it needs to be bluer than that. Let's get some more blue. I have more choices of blue. So I want to get it a little bit bluer. And I'm going to just do the same thing. Because you can see little white spots in between the little, I don't know what those things are called. Are these called scales, kids? I don't know. We're just going all over in the area where it's blue. There's a little bit of blue back here too. We'll get that too. So we're just going in sections. We work this section, and then we go to the next section. You don't get in a rush. What's fun about painting is watching how the paint likes to move around when you use water. It's lots of fun. Hey, I'm going to look and see if you guys are asking any questions, because you can ask questions. Samson's a little behind. That's okay, Sammy. I'll slow down. I'm going to wait. I think you can pause these live videos too. I'm not sure. Okay, I'm going to stop for a second, let you guys catch up a little bit, okay? We'll let that sit. And what's cool about the water, you guys, is the water makes the paint move around. So just letting it sit, the paint's going to start moving a little bit. Okay? Are you okay? Sammy, are you good where you are? Everybody okay? You feel like you're catching up? You can just write it down. Any of your parents can write it down. Isn't this going to be cool? We're going to do the same thing here with some yellow on the leg. We're going to do a lot of it with painting with yellow. I think I want to add a little more red up into his back. See at the top it gets a little more red. So I'm just going to do that while it's wet. Here and there. Little tiny dots. See how that comes down and looks a little bit more of what the color is on here. And I'm going to keep going right on down. So look how far we've done so far. Yay, so good. And then where I see the green, I'm going to do some green right there. And here's the thing. Even if yours ends up not looking perfect, keep painting because you get better every time you paint. You learn something every single time. Even if it doesn't turn out exactly like you like, you can say, what did I learn? And sometimes you'll learn more than others. I wanted to paint for the longest time and I just never made the time. But painting is lots and lots of fun. And if you do paint a little bit every day, you'll get better and you'll get better and you'll get better. See how that's kind of mixing in together up there at top? Do you see that right up here? How these two are coming together and they're mixing? I think that's going to be so pretty. Okay, good. Okay, so I'm going to keep going. He's good. Perfect. Get your brush wet again, kids. And we're gonna go under now, under the belly. We don't wanna, try not to touch any of these areas here, the white areas, because if we do, that'll make the blue come down. So here we are with the water, just the water, clear water, and we're looking at our colors here. So this one might be a little bit trickier because it has a rainbow look. It goes green, yellow, orange, and blue. Same thing as here, but it's a little bit closer together. So let's get that wet, just like we did. Avoid the little foot. See the little foot? Avoid the little foot. So go above the little foot. And when I paint with my grown-ups, I say, whoops, a lot of times. I make accidents all the time, but that's good because then I can show maybe how to fix them. So right up in there, and see, since I touched the paint, look what's happened. All of that, as soon as I touch that, all of what was up there says, yay, I opened up a flood. And now it's going, woo, all the way in. And that's okay, it'll still work. It's not what I planned, but it'll still work. Do you want me to show you how I could fix that? Maybe it happened to you. So we grab our little Kleenex or paper towel, and we just go like this. And we press it down for just a second, and I bet you it'll be mostly gone. It is, but it still wants to come down there. It still wants to. So what we can do, let's get some yellow right now. Go get some yellow. Okay, I'm gonna paint some yellow right here, right now. So you go back. You go right back up there. Ooh, that's gonna be a fun green, isn't it? So come on down with that. If you have that same thing, I'm gonna go ahead and paint right down into this. So it's already wet. Bring the yellow down along the bottom and bring it up a little bit further. What we can do now is just leave that. We'll just bring it up a little bit. And you see these lines right here? There's a yellow line, a yellow line, a yellow line. Let's do that. Just lightly. It's going to blend out a little bit because we made it wet. Just a little bit. It doesn't have to match exactly, because what we're doing is we're just painting an illusion of what this is. It's not really the thing. It's not even, it's on a piece of paper, so for sure it's not the real thing, right? But now it looks like those are its little rib cages, right? I think that's what it is. So I'm rinsing my brush off and I'm putting it in clear water afterwards. And then I'm taking the moisture out. Now I want to go get some, let's just go right into the orange. If you have orange, go right into the orange. Okay, I think that'll look good right now. I'm getting orange. And we'll just go right on top of the yellow. Because we see that little orange section, just do little touches. Okay, do you see that happening? That's because it's wet into wet. Now I'm gonna go right into some green. No, I wanna do, what do I wanna do? I think, okay, yeah, let's do green, because that's pretty green at the bottom. If I do blue, it's gonna be too much. So let's go ahead and do the green that's already mixed. And it's not super thick. We're just tapping it in there, trying to match that. See how it comes around up there? We're just gonna kind of match that. Okay, how we doing? Doing good? Okay, now we have to go up into here with our blue. But I wanna do yellow again at the very, very top, and then we'll put the blue on top of that. So they match, because if I don't put yellow here, it's not really gonna match. So I'm gonna go ahead and do what I did on top. Are you following me, guys? It doesn't have to be perfect. It's still gonna look like whatever this is, the gecko or the lizard or whatever it is, right? The gecko lizard. Okay, back into the blue. I'm gonna put blue right on top. And we're still leaving some of these little circle things because we want those to be there. And remember, yellow and blue make green. But if we put a lot of blue, it'll be more of the blue, and the yellow would just kind of show through a little bit. We want that to come down here and there. So the blue is also making some of the rib cage lines. Okay. Poppy's sleeping over here, you guys. Just want you to know I hear him snoring, Sammy and Shirley. Okay, now we're gonna leave that alone for a minute. A lot of times what happens is people, they go, oh no, this doesn't look right, this doesn't look right, and they keep painting, they keep painting, they keep painting. And what happens with paper is there are fibers in the paper, and then they lift up when you keep painting, and then they get like kind of a gritty, I guess you could say, or like if you do your hair, hold on. If you do your hair and you keep making it like this and gets tangled, and then the paper gets all messed up. So if you keep painting over and over and over on it, it gets messed up, and then it makes it look kind of what they call dull, or they call it muddy. So you want this to be a nice bright thing. So if you keep messing it up, just leave this alone for now, let it sit. We may come back and do a second round. This may be our first session, and we might have 2 sessions of this one. And I have a feeling we probably will. We don't want to paint this yet, because as soon as we do, because there's water next to it, we'll probably end up making it go phew. So we leave that alone. So let's go down here. We don't have anything there. Let's get that wet. And we're going to make it all the way around like this little curly Q. Okay, comment in there if you guys are doing good. I have a feeling you are, because you know what we're doing now. You're just gonna make it all the way around. And right there. And let's wet this leg too, okay? Let's go over here and wet this leg. I'm just looking at sections we can do that won't bump into each other while they're wet. Because it's nice to let the paint or the water soak into the paper for just a little bit. Okay. We could even do his little foot here. And this leg's gonna be easy. This little leg here, look how easy that's gonna be. It's just yellow and it goes into white and then a little bit of brown back there. You know how to make brown? Brown and gray is just all the colors together. Okay, even though you would think that putting all the colors together would make it beautiful, it doesn't. It makes it not beautiful. I'm gonna fold this so you can see the tail while we paint. Okay, so I'm gonna hold it right here. Look at all these colors. But yellow is the lightest color, so let's do it. Let's get that yellow on here. Okay, just like we did before. Mine is dried up a little bit too fast too, so yours probably has. So let's get this going. We might have to brush instead of just tapping it in there like I like to do. So just follow that around, that little curly Q. It's like a cinnamon roll. Yay for cinnamon rolls. Okay, I'm gonna put a little more yellow as I'm looking at this. This is really, really bright. So let's put a lot of yellow. Not a ton, just a good amount. Like, don't go so crazy. I'm just kind of looking where the yellow is showing the most. Sammy Cooper's leaning on me. Shirley, he just put his paws on me, so I had to move away. Do you see how there's darks in here? That's where the shadow is. This looks like it's flat, but it's really a round tail. And that's how it looks round, because it has some shadows in it. And we'll put those in there. And do you see this right here? This is a shadow from the branch, and we'll put that in there too. So we're gonna go right up here and let that go around. And while we have yellow on our brush, let's just go ahead and go over here to this foot. And we'll start at the bottom. And because it's mostly white here, we're gonna try to leave that. Let's go on the outside. The paint is gonna go over a little bit, but we're gonna see if we can keep it. And if it doesn't stay, you know what we can do? We can use a Kleenex there. Okay, I'm gonna go right up in here, right up under these little spiny things, and down here. And I see these little claws. Right here at the tip of his feet, it's kind of orangey yellow. So I'm just gonna put yellow there. Just little dots. You don't have to paint the whole thing. What makes something look cool is when you leave the light, the white of the paper comes through. Now this side we don't have to. In fact, we could just go ahead and paint him. Let's just paint this leg without putting water down, okay? Because there's not much there. We'll go, this is called wet into dry. And then this is sort of just like drawing or coloring with a coloring crayon. And that's a lot of times how kids like to paint. See the white here? There's a little bit of white there. So let's leave that. Don't paint all the way. You can paint all the way to the end of his toes, because even though that's orange, we know how we can make that orange. And I'm just going to stop right about up here. I'm not going to touch this because this could still be wet. Okay, look how we're doing. Pretty good, you guys. Pretty good. I'm rinsing off my brush, and then I'm rinsing it in the second one, and then I'm going to dry it off. We're going over to the, let's see. My tail is still pretty wet. I think, let's do this right here. Let's do this one here. Let's do some orange, and I want you to mix your orange with some blue, okay? Go mix some orange with blue. That's going to make kind of a gray color. See how that's gray? Let's put that down on this guy's leg right here. Little tiny touches. Because that's the shadow. You see how that looks? I'm going to get a little bit more orange because I want it to be a little more brown like that. And I'm going to go right down, all the way down, all the way down, because I'm looking at the shadow here. See that right there? That's the shadow right there. So that's what our shadow looks like, or my shadow looks like right there. And if I want to make it even a little bit darker, I might want to get, I would probably get maybe a red. Let's see what that does. And it's not very much water on the brush. When you're doing this, not very much water at this time. So I'm doing it super, super, more like a drawing. Okay, now that's too much. So here's what we do. We grab a little Kleenex and we go, you go away, go away. And maybe use my brush. So now that I have red on there, it's a little too red for me. I liked it better how I had it before. So what I want to do, I'll put a little bit of green on that. I know that sounds weird, but when you mix red and green together, they become more, those are the complementary colors, and it makes the green not look as red. But either way, it's going to look like a shadow. And again, I think I'll do this. Okay, I'm going to leave that alone for a minute. Oh, wait, you know what? I think I'm going to do a little more yellow right here because this is more yellow. I'm going to go right back into some yellow right here at the foot. And we'll mix that, leave it like that kind of, and then it'll make it look like it's a little bit of a white arm there. Leg, whatever, right, guys? And I touched it on his foot again. Okay, so over here, my tail looks like it's still wet. We want to go get some pretty colors in there. Shall we start? Let's start with the oranges. So you have an orange, I think. We'll go ahead and just go straight into orange. Even though we could do red, let's make it simple and go a little bit faster. So what I want to do is get water out of the brush and get more paint on the brush. And we'll do it down here too. So I'm just looking at wherever the colors are on this little guy. You still there, Sammy? Are you still getting it? Okay. Remember, you can always come back and watch the recording. I'll keep painting. Do you see how we're doing? So we're just putting the paintbrush there, and because the water was still there, you see it pulling it around? Okay, let's do the same thing. Let's go to green now. If you have a green, go to the green. Oh, good. Go to the green, and we're going to do the same thing. Right where we see green, let's put some green. And up here, and we're just touching it in there because it's wet. And it'll move it around. It'll paint for us, basically. So more green. And more green here. And more green here. Right on top of that yellow. Look how cool that looks. Yay! It's so fun! Okay, right across there. Doesn't that look good? Okay, now we gotta go to blue. I think I want to put a little more yellow right here before I do that though. See how that's more yellow? I want to make more yellow there. So we just go back in with yellow. As long as the paper's wet, we can do this. Yay! Okay, and I'm just tapping it in there. Okay, now I want to do some blue. And last time I did cobalt blue, we called it, but it doesn't matter, whatever blue you have, just get some blue on your brush. And not so much water. Okay, here we go. And do you see the area where it's blue? It's right down there, so we're going to try to copy it right there. Ooh, that looks good. Happy, happy, happy. Oh, that's so pretty. And then down here, we do the same thing. Little bit of brush there. And I see a teeny tiny bit of blue right up in here too. Let's see if I get a little more blue. So really all you're doing is looking at your paint, at your photograph and trying to copy the colors. And if you want it to be more green, then you just get a little more green on there. And you do the same thing. And right here, just try to put it in the places that you see it. Now, I would like these to be not so stiff there, and I think I want to put a little more orange down here. See the orange that gets darker right there? So let's make those kind of mix together. It gets darker on this side. Yeah, that's better. And maybe I want to do this. I want to put my brush right on top and maybe take out a little bit of the paint. And I see this being a lot more orange, so I'm going to go get red on top of it and put it right at the edge. And I'll probably come down here and do a little bit because I see a little bit of orange there. Just little tiny bits. And I see a little bit up in there. Super careful and a little bit slower. Don't do it fast. This is darker green up in here, and I see a little more orange up in here. So I'll put orange there. Whoops, get more in the brush. And I see orange here. And then we're going to have to, oh, I need more yellow down here by this orange. I see lots of yellow here. We're going to come back in later and put the shadow, because if I do it now, it's going to go everywhere, and we don't want it to. I can do the shadow up here, though, I think. We'll give that a shot. Yellow here. And then, see how this red became a better mix, and it looks more like what's on the paper, on the photograph? Let's do the same thing here. It's a little more orangey, a little brighter, a little more. You see that? So when you already have paint down and water, it'll paint kind of for you. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. I want to get more green up here at the top. So I will just put some more green up there. It's still wet, so we are okay. Oh, it's not quite as wet. See how it's not moving around as much? Now it looks more polka dotted. So that lets me know that I can put that shadow up there too. So I just put my brush back in the water. Okay, I'm gonna go into blue. Up in here, we're going to get this shadow from the branch. So here's the blue. Blue first. And can you see that it's orange? Do your parents have the photograph in front of you? And then let's see, we'll get some orange up there. But we're gonna darken this. We're gonna get this kind of a dark brown because that's what it looks like. Now, if I left this like this, it really wouldn't look like a shadow. So we wanna make a brown. Let's do this. Let's make a dirty coloring of brown. Let's do green. Let's do green. I think you guys have green. Let's do orange with green. See how that's getting kind of an ugly brown? That's the color that would look good there. See how that's kind of like that? So let's do it. I'm gonna put some right here. Now that it's wet, it's gonna look like a shadow. But I didn't want to put it straight down because I wanted the color that's there to kind of come through. If you look here, you see there's some color in there? See that little bit of orange? But it's still really brown. And it's also brown like along the edge. So I'm going to do a little bit there, but I don't think it's dry enough for us to do it very far. Okay, so if we see how that went like that? So we won't do it. We'll save this brown. What'd we do? We did green and orange, and let's remember that because later on, that's the same color we're gonna paint around the edge of the tail and around here too, okay? I don't know how yours is looking, but I'm pretty happy with mine. Now, I wanna show you guys something. Watercolor always dries lighter. See how nice and bright that is? This was not that bright, but it was much brighter than this. Yeah, it was much brighter than it is now. It was close to this. So that's another lesson for you guys. Watercolor always dries lighter. So a lot of times people go back in for a second coat, or I guess you could I call it a second layer. All right, but we're gonna leave this for now. I think this is dry. Let's go ahead and get this leg in too. I think we can do it. We'll go right into yellow. So we're gonna go wet into dry. The brush is wet and the paper is dry. So we'll go right in here. Do you see this brown in here? That's the shadow between his leg, and we're gonna use that same brown right there. Those browns that you use later are really helpful to make it look like it's a realistic looking creature. All the shadows and things that you put in. He's a little behind again. Keep going. Okay. You can catch up, Sammy. Also, remember, it's a video, so you can always stop where you are. Like, let's say that you're behind, but you're working on this, and then I move on to the leg. I'm going in little sections, so you can always go, wait, I'll do that section next, or maybe later, right? You can just skip the one I'm on. So I'm just going right up to the edge. Now, if I had done this earlier, these two would have mixed together. So I wanted the legs to look a little bit separate. We can just go right where that shadow is because we're going to paint the brown right over the top of that later. Not now, but later. So we've got yellow down first. And what happens when you put yellow down first and you're going to put another color over the top, the yellow sort of glows through it and it makes it look really cool. And people are like, whoa, that's a great color, but they don't understand why. But you know the secret. Put some yellow down first. Okay, so if you just went and painted straight green, it wouldn't look nearly as pretty. Wouldn't. You can try it out sometime. So now I'm going to put green right over the top of it. It's still wet. So we did wet into dry first, and now because it's wet, we're using a wet brush on wet paper, and it's wet into wet. You guys are going to be professionals before you know it. Okay, so again, because it's wet, I like to just tap it like this. And most of this is green. I see it's brown back here, but we'll get that later. And we're just gonna go like this, little taps. Watercolor is something you need to be patient with. I'm only gonna teach for another 15 minutes, and then we'll finish it up the next time we're together. Okay, so I left a section here. These two are not separate. If you look here, they're not separate. That joins together, so it's a good time to do it. Just paint right over the top of that. And in order to make it look the same, we need more yellow. So I'm putting yellow on it. And let's make that go up a little bit behind it. See right back here? There's a little bit behind it. We're just trying to copy the photograph, and I'm just trying to show you how. We'll do these other things later, okay? Don't even worry about them right now. You just leave, when we get done, just leave it alone. Don't paint on your own. Wait until we can come back together, and I'll teach you how to finish it, okay? Do you see orange down here at the feet? See at the very tips? Let's do some orange there. We'll make them brown later, but let's do orange right now. Okay, just right at the very tips. Okay. How about this little yellow foot here? Let's get that one. We'll get it wrapped around. We'll just do wet into dry. So the paper's dry, the paintbrush is wet. And it looks like I made a mistake when I drew it. I didn't draw the little claws coming down, so I'm going to fix that right now. If you guys copied mine, you might want to too. So this little foot wraps around it. Most mistakes can be fixed. Okay, so that's wrapped around it. I've got yellow in my brush. And I'm going to put it along the bottom too. You guys still with me? You guys are still concentrating? It's gonna be cool. See, okay, so see how we need to get this even browner. But we know what we did with it, and we'll do that later. Let's not do it now, we'll do it later. There's a point when you do watercolor that if you mess around with the paper, it doesn't like it. It gets mad. It's like a kid who says no and stomps his foot. Gets mad. So we just don't do that with watercolor because it's like, you know, a little tiny kid, not a big kid. You guys are too big to do that. We're talking about like a little tiny baby boy, baby girl who says no. And then they, you know, parents have to deal with it. Okay, so I'm going to put right across this hand here. See the hand? Do you see how that's got some orange there? Let's do that, but don't go all the way to the top. Leave the yellow that you put there. So remember the water, the paint is going to follow the water. So we just put little tiny touch like that. You see that? But it left the light part. And then we'll do the same thing on the tips of these. So we got the orange on the brush, and we'll just go like right here and right there. Yeah, just tiny little bits, guys. How you doing, Shirley? Is Shirley painting or is it just Sammy? Okay, so look what we've got done. We didn't go to the head yet. This is going to be sort of a purpley color. Isn't that beautiful? And this looks purple here too, purpley pink. Yay. So we're going to do that later. We can't do that today probably. Nope, I don't think so. Well, we might be able to. This is dry, right? Okay, do you guys have purple? Let's do it. Let's do it. Now this is super pale. Do you see how pale that is? It almost looks white. So make it super, super pale. Don't put too much on. That means you put more water on your brush and less paint. So when I teach grown-ups, I call that like tea. Like if you've ever seen your parents drink tea, you can kind of see through it. So it's kind of watery. You see that? That's like tea. So another consistency would be like butter, super thick. So we're going to do this like tea. Okay, so super pale, but we still want a little bit of that color on it. So I'm just gonna kind of tap it in there. This is wet into dry. And what I'm kind of doing is I'm going around the little circles. Do you see how there's little circles and in between there's lines? They look like little rocks almost. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go and do little circles. And you have to watch where you've painted. So I usually put my finger down, and if this is wet, I can't really touch it there. So I put my hand down on the paper to make it steady. Just little circles of purple. And then there's white ones. There's white ones in between. Okay, so that's the shadow we're gonna get, and then that'll look really cool.
Are they too tired yet? So it's been 50 minutes.
You guys are still with me? There's still 3 of them painting away, or at least watching. I don't know. Can you see how that looks a little purple? I don't know if you can tell on your camera, on your screen, but see how it probably looks that way on yours. Okay, so when we come back, what we're gonna do, we're gonna paint this again with water, and then I'm gonna put blue back in again, probably maybe some yellow or green to make it come up a little more so we get closer to this. But we're not gonna do it right now. You gotta be patient with watercolor. I mean, I would do it maybe later today if I was painting. I do want to come over here and get this shadow more, so I'm gonna go with green. Again, remember we did green and orange.
Again, if you're sitting on it, get up if you don't.
So this becomes kind of like a warm brown, kind of more orange than green, but it's warm. So I'm gonna come back in here. Whoops, you see that leg? And I'm gonna try to get that shadow again where I messed up a little bit. So this is wet into dry, and I see those little spiny things. Trying to get those too. And then I'm gonna come all the way down. And I'm gonna rinse my brush and then dry my brush. Okay, so I dried the brush, and I'm gonna get a little bit of orange, and I'm gonna paint right next to this. Right next to it, because I want that orange to kind of come out a little bit off of the brush, right next to it. Can you guys do that? And if you're having a little bit of trouble, tell your parents to be trying to paint along with you. So you paint too, Mom, Dad. See if you can do it. Now my brush is just wet with clear water. So watch, I'm gonna go right next to this line with just the water. And it's gonna make it softer. See how that line went away? Now it looks more like it's rounded. Can you see that? Uh-oh. Can you still see it on there? It says we're having trouble playing this. I can't tell. Are you guys still there? I can't see the video anymore. Are you in it? Can you check for me?
We still have 3. I don't know who they are.
Okay, because it says they're having trouble playing the video, so I can't tell if we're there or not. Okay.
It's been almost an hour.
Okay, so I think we are at a good place to stop. What do you kids think? I think this is a good enough time to stop for your concentration. I'm gonna put a little brown on the tips of his toes right there. And I still have the brown on my brush. I'm gonna put a little brown on the tips of his toes right there. And a little bit of more brown on under here. So you guys can come back anytime and catch up if you're behind, okay? So I'm gonna push this away so you guys can see it further away, and you can kind of see where we're going with it. Oh wait, let's do one more thing before we go, okay? One more thing. The brown that we had, remember we mixed green and orange, so it became sort of a brownish color. I think the tail is ready for me to put this little line here, because I think you guys would like that. The light changed in here. The sun came out. Okay, so do you see where I'm putting it? See, it's super dark right there, and then it kind of goes around. Let me go closer. Okay, let's get closer. Hi, Luke. Okay. Okay, so we're gonna do that again, right there. And I'm just kind of going around where it looks like it. See where it's dark there? And right up in here it's a little bit dark. And along here. It doesn't get so dark in there, so I'm going to leave that alone, but it gets dark right here. Paint what you see. See how it kind of looks like a shadow now? And in fact, I'm going to get a little bit of blue, teeny tiny bit of blue, and I'm going to do it right in the same place I just did it and make it a little bit darker still. Blue and brown make a really good black. And the same thing right here. You see that? Now, if I get back to the brown, I'm going to do a little more brown, and I'm going to go right next to that line I just did, right next to it. And that'll make it look like it's even more round, because his tail is round, right? And that's all that is called value, and that's just shadows and lights. And my brush is wet, and so I'm going to make that edge soft again. I'm just going to paint right here, right next to it, so we don't have this line, because we want it to kind of look like it goes around, right? Okay. Now, the same brown, and then we're done. I'm going to get the same brown, the orange, mixed with green. Okay, orange and green, but I want it to have more orange, because we want it to be kind of a brown. And I'm just working on a shadow again. Right here, see how it's darker? I want to make it a little bit darker. Right here. Right along here. I'm leaving a little bit of that orange there. Just like that.
55 minutes in.
I know, it's darker, so I want to use a little bit of blue again. Little tiny bit of blue. Okay? And we'll just go right up next to it, because that's where we want it to be the darkest, is right next to that branch. Okay, so that makes it look darker. I think that's enough for you guys. We're gonna make it dark all the way around this backside next. What do you guys think? Did you get as far as I did? Are we doing okay? I'm gonna say goodbye to you guys. I'm gonna sing you a song first though, because I always sing a song to the grown-ups, and I'm gonna sing a song to you too, okay? So, twinkle, twinkle, you're a star, keep your brush close to you, not far. Splash your paint, you're doing great. Enjoy your project, do not wait. Twinkle, twinkle, you're a star, keep your brush near, not far. And that just means paint, you guys, paint a lot, and you'll get better and better and better and better. I promise you. Okay, don't you love his little tail? Let me go back and show you again. Isn't his tail great? And the rest is gonna look just as great once we get going. The thing that made it look even really cool was the fact as soon as we put the shadows in, it made everything go, whoa! And we'll put the shadows in here, and we'll put some shadows in here, and it will look awesome when we're done. Okay, so let's do it again. Your parents will know when the next time is gonna be. I don't know when for sure. You can try on your own if you want. You kind of know what I did, but if you want to stay with me, I recommend it, okay? Bye, you guys. Big hugs. And Sammy and Shirley and anybody else, any of the other grandkids who watched, Naomi maybe, I think Isaac was going to. I love you guys. And all you kids, big hugs, okay? Bye.